Welcome back to the Common Ground story on the Soopaman Show, Episode 2. In Episode 1, we sat down with Shottie, Agony, and me, and also a bottle of rum that got kicked over a few times by me. And we started to discuss what influenced Agony and Shottie at an early age, what elements really attracted them to the scene, and we got into how Northern Agony was formed a little bit and how ID4 was forming and respectively the beginning stages of their own individual aspirations to make music at a higher level. And in doing so, we actually ended Episode 1 talking about how ID4 was actually paying Profile, or was supposed to start paying Profile for work they wanted to do. And that's before they even met Northern Agony and decided to become Common Ground. So now on Episode 2, we're going to continue the story with Shottie and Agony and me. Of course, I'm sitting in, telling my point of view, having a third person moment. Oh, and let's not forget the bottle of rum is still in that episode. Yeah, it's still there. The Common Ground story on the Soopaman Show, Episode 2. Let's go.
We're coming out! Guns blazing! Blazing! Blazing!
First, so where do we leave off?
We left off at Northern Agony are rapping. ID4 hasn't been fully formed.
Nah, it's been fully. Well, man, when did you check out, bro?
About 4 minutes ago.
Nah, that's the thing. When we met y'all, you guys, it was already you two.
No, with Majesty. Majesty says to you. What does Majesty say to you? Majesty. You talking about Majesty. You talking about Majesty says to you.
He puts me in touch with
Pro.
I spit some shit. We form my relationship with Pro. Pro brings me Bar Wars. I'm like, who the fuck are these dudes?
Fuck these niggas.
Not openly.
Right.
But personally, like, wow, they rap a lot.
No. Honestly, like I said, in my head, I was...
Pro pushed back, though.
I was hoping to hate.
When I said nah, fuck that shit, he pushed back. He was like, nah, don't sleep. These dudes are dope. And I was like, whatever. I just dropped it. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't going to die on that hill. I was like, whatever, bro.
That's good to know. Yeah. Because once we got all past that, we know that you were always his favorite.
CG?
Everybody knows Shot was Pro's favorite.
Pro's not here to defend himself.
He doesn't have to defend himself. It's not an insult or anything.
You
were his favorite.
Nah, that's bullshit.
You were his favorite. Everybody knew it.
Come on, Shottie.
To this day,
I can't. Nigga.
I don't think I've ever played anything for Pro beyond what I've done with him that he's listened to and been like, yo, that shit's dope. There's always something he has to say.
Pro's like critic. It's a little.
Does he do the same thing to you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't feel bad.
It's a little too dark. Can you mix it a little lighter? Can you?
No, and sometimes it's just random shit, and some of it's valid. Yeah. But I'm like, dude, when is the day that I'm gonna finally give you something? You be like, yo, that shit's bananas.
Pro's a genius. Pro is a genius, and he's not gonna let you not be a genius because he knows. That
but sometimes I've gotten to a point in my life where when I drop certain shit, I know...
You know what the dope shit is.
Exactly. Matter of fact, I was listening to shit recently on a playlist that I found within my shit where it's playing some old shit, and I'm like, You know, the shit that back in the day, I was like, oh, that's fire. So when I've done recent shit now, and sometimes I play it for him, and it's like... And he comes back with his feedback, it's like, dude, like... Can I just get one time that you're like...
No.
Pro's
always big brother.
That was dope.
Pro's our producer. Pro's the Common Ground producer. Let's get back to the story.
Nah, but you got to appreciate that, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you got to appreciate a dude.
In all fairness, I would appreciate it more if we were kind of, I guess, still doing shit where it's like, all right, I'm giving you my feedback and I'm going to help you get it where I think it should be.
Right.
Versus like, all right, you're telling me that shit, and what the fuck am I supposed to do? I can't make a beat like you. I don't mix like you, and I don't have you anymore. You know, so fucking just give a boy props.
Yeah, just
and
tell me
leave
it's
it at
dope.
that. You know,
Just tell me it's dope and shut the fuck up. Man. That's funny, man. But look, what I was trying to get at is that day, right? Like, we went to your house, and I was still in my mind like hating a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And like, so we get to the backyard, and this I still don't know what's going on until we
what
get
house is this?
Your house.
your place in
Kendall.
Calusa.
Okay, that's my balcony.
Yeah,
okay.
the balcony. We're on the
All
balcony.
right, we're telling the
All right.
balcony story, guys.
I don't think you
And I
guys
don't mean to
remember.
split hairs,
Alright,
but to
so-
me,
I don't
the
think you
balcony
guys
is
like-
different from the
Shottie,
backyard.
would you
This
like-
I have like my perspective to this. This was like a moment.
This
for
is
me.
a Shottie moment. Can we all stop and listen to the man?
So we're on the balcony, and I remember you guys start like going into this. I think Pro was leading the conversation about us all like forming a crew together. You know what I mean? And like, I saw the
Potential.
I saw the potential and the positives in the situation. You know what I mean? So, and I remember you guys were passing the blunt around. And-
Shottie.
And you didn't let us hit it, you didn't pass it to us, because we actually, when you eventually passed it to us, we declined. But you didn't pass it to us until we had the conversation about all like, you know, joining the crew or whatever.
So hold on.
and
No
once-
shit.
and after we
I don't
agreed-
remember this.
You don't
shit.
remember that?
I do not remember
Alright,
being
so
an
Shottie,
asshole.
We've literally
Let's go
talked.
back.
I know I
about
am an asshole, but I don't remember being an
Alright,
asshole.
so
like
You
that
guys
way.
sparked up a blunt. You were passing it amongst yourselves.
Tell him, Shottie.
While we were talking about the shit.
Before we officially made the crew,
But-
before
and-
it was clear that was the conversation.
After
that
we
we were having.
agreed, you guys were like, "Oh, you want to hit this?" And it was like a roach. I was like, "Nah, I'm good, bro." So like, that's what I'm saying. It was like still, I was
Competition.
still in battle mode, bro. And so what I wanted to get to is that day you spit the 13th Apostle track.
Woof, woof.
The greatest song never fucking
Yo,
recorded.
let me tell you something, bro. That scene. Okay, so like, you know, I started out as the guy that rapped by himself. Then I met a couple dudes that could rap, but I never met someone that has composed an entire song that way. And you were able to like spit that shit live, bro, with a hook. Like it was a song. It was like we were listening to a song and it was happening like that shit blew my mind straight up. Like that moment changed my entire approach to writing. That moment, dog. No
No
bullshit.
shit.
No
Never knew
bullshit,
that.
nigga. No bullshit.
Never knew that.
Yeah. Like that's when I realized like I could have the dopest bars in the world, cuz bro, Bar Wars didn't even it was like just raps, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the only thing we had.
Yeah, it was
I feel
fun
you.
raps.
I know, but what I'm saying is I couldn't take myself seriously as a rapper until I could do what I just seen him do. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have that in my arsenal yet. And because of that moment, I made it a point to like approach it from writing a song. And right after that, that's when Say Word came out. It was because of that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, we're going to make a
Who
song.
knew I
We're gonna-
created Shotties?
Well, this is what the story's about, right? We telling the story. Keep going, Shottie.
Yeah. It's just, well, it's more like about the approach to writing.
Yo.
It changed my approach. I was the battle rapper, and that day I was like, yo, I gotta change. I remember I went on a trip. It was like with my parents and shit. Like it's like a whack ass trip, dude. You know what I'm saying? And fucking yo, that shit kept like replaying in my head, and I had some pro beats and shit like that, and I wrote a lot of Say Word on that trip and shit. And then I came back and kind of like just did it with Manny. You know what I'm saying?
Which I can, if based on what he's saying and thinking about Say Word now, I can see the domino effect between something like the 13th Apostle to something like Say Word, especially with the banter that him and Littles had between each other to create something like that.
Do you remember when we thought it was one person? I thought it was one person. He was like, it's two people rapping. I'm like,
What are you talking about?
Bar Wars.
Bar Wars. We couldn't take, not Say Word. For Bar Wars, we couldn't tell the difference at first. I couldn't tell the difference at first. And then now, when I look back, I'm like, you guys sound so different, voice-wise, just like tone-wise.
Well, it's like twins when you meet them for the first time. They look completely identical, and then after a while, you're like, how can you not tell them apart?
Right. Because Bar Wars was like perfectly written. And it was like such a good space of not what we were doing. Because we went through more like the commercial side and the like trying to get paid, and y'all were like we were MCs, so we had the tracks that we could all get along on.
Yeah, like we met in the middle.
Yeah,
but that's funny. I was thinking about that too. Like we were more popular in the local rap scene, but y'all had the radio. You know what I mean? Like it's like a funny dichotomy there.
Well, we were trying to have both on lock. And I guess with Common Ground, we kind of
obviously. So
if we're gonna be specific by radio, we're talking about 88.1, which started.
No, we ended up getting
You guys had
6.5.
No, but that was later.
But in general, our music.
What I'm trying to say is like you had more the appeal to the commercial crowd,
right?
Yeah. Like you guys.
We had Shake It on our first Common Ground album.
Yeah, no, I get it, but I'm just making. All right, so we're talking.
Like even from the beginning, the first.
Because I'm talking. I know. In the beginning, we started AM, FM with 88.1, and then eventually we did do things on.
Not from what we made on the radio. We're talking about more like perspective wise, the type of tracks we were like willing to make. Because like the Northern Agony party vibe was well into the game.
Yeah, that is true.
From the beginning.
That is true.
And they were more in ID4 was more like hip hop,
the backpacker
right, exactly. And the fact that we were both crew and they could vibe on our track and we could vibe on their track was like hip hop at its purest, and I think that was what made it okay. But like what I think to Shottie's point, the avenue we might have taken was more like we could appeal to the mass markets because we were trying to get paid. We was trying to get paid.
But that being said, it's like we had like our wild concepts and shit like that, but it was in a way like kind of watching you guys and almost like stealing little parts from the template that I was able to like really develop that into like coherent songs. Because otherwise it would just be craziness. Like Bar Wars is barely a song, dude. It's fucking crazy. It's just raps coming at you from everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like,
which is needed.
No, but
it's needed though.
You can't. I disagree. You can't say that it's barely a song because the fact that you gave it the title that you gave it solidifies it as an official track with a concept
and an ending.
That's
and
true.
You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't just. And we all know, at least from our end. Like for me, we've done certain tracks where I was like, all right, this has to be about this, and we try to wrap concepts around things. But then there's certain beats where we're like, with all transparency, who gives a fuck what the hook is? Spit whatever the fuck you feel like spitting to this shit. We always call it, this is some spit shit. There's also what some people these days call like some freestyle shit, which is it's not off the top, but it's whatever came to your mind when you were listening to this beat, that's what you're gonna spit to this shit. So we have those different components to our shit. So
yeah, but what I think I saw from my perspective of it was when we saw what ID4 could do, and their they killed Step Cousin on the album.
That was funny, and they specifically went with Step because they were trying not to offend me. They were like, "We don't want you to get offended." We said Step Cousin. Because we thought if we said some other shit that you might get mad, not knowing how I'd be like, I don't give a fuck. But it was funny that they went with Step Cousin specifically because of that reason.
I think that those songs, like even all the shit that you were playing for me before we started recording and shit like that, like that to me is the glory days of Common Ground. Like it's like before ID4, before we did the faux show, before you guys did your first tape. When like it was just like all the demo tracks, and then like Spawn came in and it was his demo tracks too, and it's like we just had a bunch of
that was funny
shit.
Also because I had to deal with the fact that first I was being selfish. It was just me and Pro and North, and then he's like, I got these dudes, and then they come out, they're like, we got this other cat. I'm like, how many motherfuckers are gonna be part of this shit?
Pro had us, had Northern Agony, had ID4, had Legacy, had Spawn, and he was still doing tracks with SLP because Fury, like he did a lot of tracks for a lot of people, but everybody wanted beats. So at that time, whoever could give you a beat gave you a beat, and Pro was working with everybody. So it was really a good circle of activity going on at the same time.
Yeah.
And to pros credit, I wanna let people know that at this point, he wasn't using Fruity Loops or Reason. He was creating his own sound bank off an Akai sampler.
Real hip hop.
You know, sequencing off of shit that wasn't as easy as it is today. You know what I'm saying? Like he
was going through it just to.
You know, we're talking about like grabbing sounds off of ADATs and shit.
And wonky.
You know? So
shout out to SLP, man. SLP.
What up, Dirty?
See, like the same way that you guys made me step my game up on the writing songs, like SLP did when they dropped the album. Right. Like when SLP dropped
and performances, these guys were.
Yeah, but like I knew at least with performances, like you know, I knew how to go down that path. But with the album, like Streets on Fire. When they dropped that shit,
talk about it, Shottie.
Not only was the album dope, but like that shit was shrink wrapped. That shit looked clean as fuck, bro. And like, so that was another thing that I was like, damn, like on the business tip.
Yeah, there's another level to get to.
Yeah, that's important, man, to have people like that around and shit.
So,
but no, I consider those like the glory days of Common Ground, because I think it got a little complicated after that, and then Common Ground kind of just became me, you, and North in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and you know what's funny is that when we were, you know, for Shottie to say that he picked things off of us, it's funny because in essence, at least for me, I felt like we did the same. Because I remember when I went to go spit in a studio for the first time, I had never done anything like that before. I didn't know what a lead was versus an overdub, and for damn sure I didn't know what the fucking ad lib was. At least the way we format our shit. And I remember when we recorded We Blaze, that the vibe that we captured that night, it actually it taught me on my side there's a fun component to the music side, because I remember, you know, going back to what I was saying, like I really started trying to work on my craft as far as a writer and structure and everything, and even still at that point it was just about rhyme and a certain flow and the way my brain works, and sometimes I'm just a little too mathematical with shit. I remember the other thing I picked up was also the fact of like double rhyming and triple rhyming and getting into a rhythm where when I was writing, it wasn't just about saying something, it was about purposely putting words in specific ways to make sure that they hit with each other and they rhyme
like
with each other.
Internal rhymes too, not just like the rhyme at the end.
Exactly.
Internal shit.
So, you know, these are things that I picked up off of them that in the beginning was just about, oh yeah, I rhyme and I write rhymes. And I had a certain, you know, knack for it just naturally. But with them coming into the picture and me starting to study their craft and being in a recording session with them with something like We Blaze, I'm like, all right, so after all this seriousness, to a certain extent, gets done where you've written your rhyme that you're proud of and you're saying, all right, this is what I'm going to say, then it's all right, now let's have fun with the track. That's something that I picked up off of them, you know?
Yeah, I think I definitely could see where we brought that to the crew. Because I think before, like, your sound was, like, very serious. You know what I mean? And once we, like, did... Bar Wars was serious, too. But I think once we did Say Word, I think Say Word was the one that was like, oh, okay, you could kind of be funny on the song. You know what I mean?
Yo, it was Say Word, and then after that, it was This Blunt's For You.
Yeah, that one was pretty funny,
and then you guys just kept going with so much fun that it got to a point where... if we're not having fun, we're messing up the studio time. And you guys were in the studio time with us, so it was addictive. You know?
So we're riding this high from the mixtape. We had the show at the Chili Pepper.
Oh my
Chili
God.
Pepper. Talk about the Chili Pepper.
That show was legendary.
The Chili Pepper. So
talk about the worst first impression of performing ever. I remember leaving that day and thinking, like, oh, it's a wrap. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yo, shout out to Ed, the Kid Randini, RIP. Yo, he had his band at the time, and he was doing shows, these day shows at the Chili Pepper. And he's fam, so he knows the music. He knows what I'm doing with Common Ground. I'm not the manager of the crew, but in order for me to be part of the crew, I guess I have to have a name. So I guess I'm the manager at this point. And I am just trying to get these guys shows. I'm just hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And he says, yo, you guys can perform with me. So it's a all rock crowd. and it's a 5 o'clock party that's gonna be over by like 8:30, 9 o'clock, so that the next club night is gonna start. So the promoter gave the rock crowd from 5 to 9 open bar. They didn't have to, not open bar, but like the bar had nothing to do with it. People bought drinks or not, didn't matter. They paid $7 to get in, and the performers performed 2-3 acts, whatever. So I would like to pass it to you guys from that perspective to finish the story of walking into an all rock crowd about to perform like some hardcore.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I think that crowd was probably one of my top crowds that I've ever performed for, as far as the response that we received afterwards. Matter of fact, I have to, all bullshit, it has to be the best, because I don't think there was ever any other performance that I got off the stage and somebody asked me for an autograph on whatever CDs we were passing out. And that happened the first time that we went to perform. That's what I'm saying. Like, for me, that performance was something where, we're finally in the studio. We're finally starting to record structured music. We're creating shit. We're being creative. We link up with ID4 and we're doing our shit. And we doing a show. And then after the show, we're getting people coming up to us and feeling us and asking us for autographs and stuff. I'm like, all right, we're on our way type shit. And then do another show, a few months later, and get a rude awakening as far as the hatred that exists, in around. And it was a rude awakening. 'Cause that first performance, I think we got spoiled, and Little spit the same verse twice, and nobody gave a fuck.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's right.
How about you, Shad? It was your vibe that first show.
Nah, it was the same thing. I just remember, it was like a blur to me, but I remember that show going really well. And the crowd really reacting to it. And it was cool because it was a different type of crowd, It wasn't just the same old hip-hop crowd. So, yeah, that was part of that wave, though. Like, there was a real wave where there was, like, I think the most, like, unity with everybody in the crew.
Because it was fresh. It was the honeymoon,
Yeah, it was the honeymoon phase, exactly.
The honeymoon of common grass.
So, when did the honeymoon end?
When did it?
I don't know. For me, and I can't, every honeymoon finishes, right? We got into a groove. We started having our meetings. Remember, religiously, I think we used to meet on Mondays or Tuesdays or whatever it was.
Tuesdays, yeah.
Tuesday nights, we go there. That I would even take my daughter sometimes in her freaking car seat and shit like that. So, like, we had our groove, and yeah, the honeymoon finished as far as I think we went beyond what we can kind of I won't say that. I won't say that we got past what we could feed off each other. I think we continued to develop each other in a way, but it was like, all right, we're crew. You know what I'm saying? Like, we made that official. And we rode that wave for a minute. And I don't think it was, for me at least, it wasn't until where I feel like we had our first moment of, all right, like, what's really going on here? I think was, on my side, was with Manny and E.
Okay.
You think that was
See, for me, it was the last laugh. For me, it was the last laugh situation.
And for last laugh, for me, I didn't see that too much because I know we kind of all got together.
Whoa. Before
let's break it down. Let's break it down.
Slow down a little bit. You guys are going a little bit fast. We have a lot of viewers listening.
But it's true. No, we got to get this out.
And we got to get this out, and I know it's flowing out right now. But we talking about let's go a little bit further back. You know what I'm saying? Just to have it on record and just talk about it. The first time you ever had to defend your crew.
Your side of the crew.
Your side of the crew was when, to me, it was Bigger Than Life.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but we were together on the Bigger Than Life situation.
But the Bigger Than Life situation caused a rift with Fury.
Yeah, because we had
Fury was already working with SLP.
We had started a project with Fury because obviously, I mean, it's no secret at that point. We had Pro, but Fury was on another level,
right?
He was like, his shit was on some official sounding shit, and we had reached out to him and came to terms on a project we were going to work on. And we discussed fees and everything like that. And it was definitely reasonable, more than reasonable, to be honest with you. And And then I know that whole shit spawned up online, and this was in the beginning of people being able to go online and do shit. And I remember seeing shit, and I'm like, well, nobody's gonna talk shit about the crew without me saying something. And then because of that, though, the project got cut short with Fury because Fury had ties to them, and he's like, how am I gonna look with me doing shit with you and me putting you onto shit like this? And then now,
so what happened was that somebody from this group, Bigger Than Life, was talking shit.
You know, I can't
online.
say if
Do you remember what happened, Shottie?
I know somebody said fuck ID4 or some shit like
Okay.
that, and it was from these guys Bigger Than Life who like
You already knew these guys.
Yeah, I had recorded a song with them a couple years prior, and I really it's the funny thing about it is that like I have no idea why people beef with me. You know, just like 2 years ago, I found a fucking song called "Kill Shottie, Kill Tev" online, bro.
Yeah,
Word?
It
I
was
heard
like 2
that
years
song.
ago, B. Like people,
I never
There
seen
is, I do know that song.
I don't even know the fucking guy.
because at
bro.
first I would think Kill Shotty, like whatever, that could be coincidence,
Nah,
but the Kill
Tev.
Shotty, Kill
Nah,
Tev,
I
like
heard the song.
That's you guys.
Yeah. Tev, yeah.
That might be some mental health stuff. I don't know. I need some help for that. Because
So you
it's
kind of
just music.
soured your relationship with Nick Fury because of
You know what
that.
the funny thing is? I was way younger back then, and Fury handled it in a way that was so business. It was on some like, I ain't mad at you, I just can't fuck with you type shit. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like to me, like what you are we beefing now? Because you got to me, it was so like, all right, these are my dudes. So because these are my dudes, I got beef with you because you got beef with him.
Right.
So I'm looking at it like, all right, so now Fury got beef with me because he's cool with
It
them.
was a
type
tribal
shit.
way to look
and,
at it.
And he was on some like, I ain't gonna finish the project with you because I can't fuck with you anymore.
That's a
'cause
shame. That project was dope.
It was.
That project was dope, man.
Yeah, we had a lot of joints over that.
But
nevertheless, it
So how does that
created-
tie in?
Because that created a moment where we had to be like, are we with ID4 or we with working with Fury? Because at that point we're like we were at ID4.
yeah, you see, and for me, that's what I'm saying. Like that point, I didn't have. To me, it wasn't that serious. It was like, it was crew over.
It was
anything.
crew.
It was
Yeah,
crew over
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
So
CG.
it wasn't even that difficult for me. It was.
Yeah.
It wasn't until much later in my elder years that I looked back and I was like, you know, I can finally see why Fury did what he did and why he was about what he was about. I even reached out on Facebook and sent them this long fucking apology on some like, I get it, which he never responded to the point where I was like, yo, is he still mad or whatnot? But obviously that wasn't the case because I heard through otherwise that, you know, where it was cool. I think I probably sweated the shit more than even he did because I like
Right.
for
You
me,
probably
I
didn't
took it a
think
certain
twice
type
about
of
it.
way,
Right.
and to him, I really think that he looked at it like, dude, like it's almost like he understood where I was coming from. He's like, all right, that's fine, you did you, and now I just got to do me based on my shit, but which means that we can't work together. But other than that, like it's all
Yeah,
good,
there's never been no.
you know. And whereas for me, I was like, yo, you just cut me out type shit. You know, how could you be so nonchalant about that shit?
Yo,
the music we was
rappers,
making was fire.
rappers are sensitive as fuck.
I am.
No, all rappers. I don't give a fuck. If you're listening to this and you're a rapper and you're gonna tell me you're not sensitive, you're a goddamn liar, bro.
I am.
Rappers get sensitive about beats. If somebody gave me a beat CD and they gave you a beat CD with the same
And
beats,
yo, you know, it's funny you say that
Yo.
because that's why to me, that's where my biggest fucking point where I could say that the only rift that I think that I personally would see and be like, all right, I gotta openly discuss this. Like I gotta bring this to the table type shit was with Manny and E. And main reason why it was that me and North have recorded some shit and now I'm hearing fucking Shot and Littles on the same beats. I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like to me that was like, all right, and not even if it wasn't even on, it was like, all right, so how is this being presented to you guys where you felt comfortable jumping on shit that we had jumped on?
Because we never done that.
Yeah, like
That was never.
like it ain't on some like a Jamaican producer that says, all right, everybody pay me and jump on the fucking same rhythm and do whatever you want with it.
Nah.
There was no such like, especially working with Pro, we were feeding from the
we were
same
fighting
trough,
for beats.
and it was like
We were fighting for beats.
it was
It's
like,
not-
yo,
talk about
word.
it. Talk about it.
I remember
Talk about
speaking with Pro here and there. So I'm like, yo, if they got that shit then you need to fucking hook me up with some other shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there was never a point where I was like, where I'm dropping some shit to that myself and just
never.
fuck that, you know?
No.
So when we finally ended up on the same beats, I'm like, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying?
Do they know? We were like, do they know? They're
Exactly.
on the same
And it
beats
wasn't
that we're on?
and it wasn't on some like,
did
I
they
can't
agree to
believe
this?
I can't believe
Beats?
these motherfuckers.
Which ones?
Yeah,
the Tony Gavin
the
beats?
Tony Gavin beats. All I need, dun 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 dun.
I don't think they ever did all that. I don't think they ever did all I need. I know that there was one that we did, which was fucking, I think it was called "Wish You Were Me," that we did. To me, I listened to. I'm like, yo, it's a dope track, and they did one to that same beat also.
Yes,
and I was just like,
why?
And the thing is, for me, like, I never sat there when I heard it the first time. I never said like, "Oh, these motherfuckers are trying to infiltrate."
No, never.
To me,
never.
it was like, "All right, something's going on
know?
here."
It was like, do they know who gave us the same beats?
I need
That's
to
the first
figure
thought.
out what's going on, because I'm not gonna just jump and be like fuck y'all. Because mind you, we had been crew for a minute, and we just had some new people that were trying to help us to do something different.
Right.
So when I heard that, I was like, yo, hold the fuck up. You know, like, what's going on here? Do they know? And if they know, that they do it anyway because whatever. Like, I remember hearing that, and that was the only time that it really made me question what was really popping off.
But we asked for a meeting at that point. Like, yo, can we have a meeting and talk this shit out? Like, it was not even like a long term.
But I don't even remember that being brought up at the meeting. I don't remember this thing about the beats happening at the meeting. I remember the...
Well, you know what? The thing, he's right. I remember I reached out to you personally, and I was like, dude, like, I think we need to get everybody together and we need to find out what's going on, just so that we know where everybody stands type shit.
Word.
Because right now, they're saying some shit to you, they're saying some shit to us, but we don't know what each other's doing, and I think we should know. Was
Right.
basically the angle that I hit him from, you know, and it was a matter of just me being able to understand their motives and their direction to then decide, do I have a problem with it or not? You know what I'm saying? That's the way I was looking at it.
Well, there was always this like underlying, not conflict, but there was a competition that was inevitable, right? Even with beats, right? There was a competition that was always inevitable.
Well,
so
hip hop is competition.
yeah, it was always going to be that way. But like with the Manny situation, I feel like they presented us a bunch of beats and told me that you guys had the same beats, but like, bro, it was like mad beats. I didn't know which ones you guys were going to use. So we just did what we did. What we should have done is checked with y'all and fucking worked it out. But we were like, nah, we're just going to do what we're going to do. You know what I'm saying? That was like some ego went into that, or I don't know what. But
How many beats? I mean, you might not remember, but at the end of the day, I think we had like 3 or 4 beats. And like,
but I don't know. I don't even know which.
3. We only did 1 overlap.
There were a few.
There were a few.
Were there a few overlaps? Because all the Tony Gavin tracks that we did, we put on that tape.
Yeah,
There were no
That's
other
what I'm saying.
I
Like,
feel
for
like
me,
there's 1 overlap.
For me, Tony Galvin, like, I know we did for Tony Galvin. All we did was All I Need. I don't remember if he produced anything of the other ones.
No.
Well, so what I'm saying, like, that's where you could tell that the crew had already been like, you know, fractionalized a little bit. Because like what really should have happened was like we all should have got together and figured out that we had the same beats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. We recorded our shit, you recorded your shit, and then there was overlaps. You know, that's one of those things where like it could have been handled better. But what I was more mad at in that meeting was,
Well, I remember what he got mad about.
what?
Because I called him wishy-washy.
Wishy-washy.
I do remember that.
Nah, you wishy-washy.
Nah, but what I was mad at was something about that. I don't know if this was true or not, but it was presented to me as like that you guys were trying to like suppress us so you could get put on first and then we can sign to you. Now, I don't know how much of that was true, but that stoked my battle ego a little bit. Like, hold up, man. What do you mean signed to you? You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to be like one big thing.
Signed to who? Signed to us?
Yeah, that's how it was presented to us. That, like, you guys were trying to suppress us so that you can get put on first, and then we can sign under you guys.
Suppress.
I felt some type of way.
Suppress is a funny word because it was never suppress. It was always whatever hits first, we gonna follow the coattails.
Right, but the story that I heard, was, and we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it.
I'll let Agony talk about it.
The story that I heard was that
talk about it, Shottie.
Was that he heard some of our music, and he asked you to borrow the CD, and you told him no. That's what I heard.
Me?
You.
Talk about it, Agony.
Yeah.
Agony,
he said that he was in the car with you, and he heard the ID4 CD, and he's like, "Yo, that's dope. What's this?" And that's ID4, whatever. And he was like, "Yo, let me hold that." And you were like, "Nah, this is my only copy," or some shit like that.
That's possible, but if it wasn't on some like I'm trying to suppress you. It could have been. It was my only fucking copy. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't letting that shit go.
Talk the truth.
Because back then, I mean, we're still talking about we're just getting into CDs. You know what I'm saying? We started creating shit off fucking cassettes, and then we got into CD. It ain't like an MP3. Like, yeah, I'll email it to you later type shit. You know, I don't think we were at that level yet. But
in my mind, it was like, man, Fred could hit me up whenever. Like, Agony could hit me up whenever and get a CD. You know what I'm saying? That's what was happening. That's what was going on in my mind. Again, I don't even know if that story even happened, but that's how they were selling it to me.
And that's a tough one for me to even justify or not, because I honestly don't remember. So I don't like I can't say that I
no closure
that I did it or if I didn't do it.
No, but it's
I don't
funny.
think I would, because there was never any animosity towards you guys. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I never. That's why to me it was. If I ever pointed the finger at anybody, I always pointed it at Manny and E, and not, you know. And I don't even think it was anything malicious. I think they literally bit off more than they could chew type shit. Like, they came across something where they felt that they could do something, and they were dealing with a serious amount of talent. Like, not to toot our own horns, but it wasn't like it could go either way, because, you know, when you look at, imagine you look at North and Agony and it's a vibe, right? You look at ID4 and it's a vibe, but they're different in their own aspects of the type of shit they bring to the table. And then you split those down the middle and you look at what I like to do versus what North likes to do versus what Shottie can do and versus what Littles can do. There's so much shit going on that I think they were just doing their best at that point with what they could to try to do whatever they could with the opportunity that was presented to them, if that makes any sense. So I don't hold any anger or resentment towards them with the fact that we kind of split ways. I just think that they weren't able to handle the situation.
They were in over their heads.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it kind of made them make decisions that made them look like they didn't know what they were doing, which I think there was some validity to that. They think that they probably thought they could do some shit.
Yeah.
But they didn't realize what they were doing. I don't think that they literally tried to put a wedge between us.
But they did,
purpose.
though. But they did, though.
They did.
Whether it was intentional.
Because I'm saying that's why for me, I had to have that meeting at the house where I needed you there, I needed fucking Manny there, I needed E there, I needed everybody there to be able to say whatever they had to say.
Well, let's go
put me
back.
at peace.
Let's go back about the meeting. So a lot of people don't know this meeting happened. So we might want to go back a little bit. We went to the point where we said we have two projects going on with ID4, North and Agony. We have two investors, managers involved. At this point, we have similar beats by the same producer. We have one or two tracks that overlap, and we get to the point as a crew that Agony feels that it's very important to not have anybody talking behind anybody's backs anymore, and put everything on the table. So Agony calls a meeting with everybody to his crib in the backyard, and we all sitting down, and we all about to have this meeting. And let me ask you, Shottie, what's your impression of the meeting? What do you think is gonna happen in this meeting? Like, what is when you get the call and you go into the meeting? I don't even know who calls you, if you remember, but you end up you're there. What do you think is about to happen?
I was on defense, bro. I was on defense because I'm already going off like our communication had already slowed down. It wasn't the same. We weren't having our meetings anymore. The common ground meetings had already stopped. So, you know, we were doing our thing. You guys were doing your thing. We still had communication, but it wasn't like before. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going off of what I'm hearing from these other dudes that are now in my ear. You know what I'm saying? I'm going off of that. So I showed up to the meeting on some defensive shit. I was like, yo, I'm ready to go. Let's go. Let's get into it. You know what I'm saying? I showed up defensive, bro.
And did you guys have like a game plan? Did you guys like you and Littles like?
Nah, we were winging it.
Winging it.
Yeah, let's wing it.
And
I didn't know what was gonna happen. I knew the points that I wanted to make.
What were your points? Do you remember any of your points?
I just said it. That I felt like that you guys were trying to make like an order to this thing. Like, oh, we gotta go first, and then y'all go. You know what I'm saying?
Well, to the point of making an order, I think there is a little validity to that, because the relationship that we created for Raw Records was with Manny, and when we had split from the concept of pushing a Common Ground album after the first album, I think like we said North and Agony is going to push what they push. ID4 is going to push what they push. Whoever gets there first will pull the other one up. So in our endeavor in going first, in your endeavor going first, you did your thing and we did our thing. And then to me, and from my perspective, we found Manny. We found an investor that was going to invest in us, North and Agony, and put us first. You know what I'm saying? And I say us is them, but you know what I'm saying. And with that perspective, we said when we get put on, the first people we put it on is ID4. Because they crew. That's what we're doing. And then ID4 was putting on Spawn. In our brains. Because the Wu-Tang plan of the whole shit was like, we're going to find our money people, and Manny was the money person. Manolo. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. And when he said we're gonna invest in North and Agony, we said, what we gonna do? We said we're gonna do some singles, we're gonna do 3 tracks, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. We said, alright, cool. Then he said, do you guys have anything else? We said, we have ID4. After we go, they go. And that was the initial conversation.
But look, to be fair, it's like
I'm just telling you what it was.
And I understand that side, but like we weren't aware of any investments that he was making with you guys. Like I didn't know nothing about that. All I knew was he came up to us. He like wanted to fuck with us. You know what I'm saying? And he was saying that you guys were throwing obstacles as far as him fucking with us.
It's not even obstacles. What are the obstacles?
But what obstacles could?
Like, what are the obstacles?
Short of going up to me like, I'm gonna fuck you up if you holla at this dude.
I'm gonna untie your shoe, nigga.
How can I stop you from fucking doing shit, you know?
I'm gonna untie your shoe. like what were the obstacles? Like for us, it was from everything we saw on TV. Let's be real. From everything we saw on TV on how shit was supposed to be done, we saw Biggie, and then we saw Junior Mafia. And we saw the Junior Mafia album. We saw this,
but you're getting exactly to the root of what I had the problem with.
Right.
I ain't trying to be Lil C's, homeboy.
Well, right.
Yeah, you know, and the fun and
the
thing
I ain't trying to be person getting on first.
I ain't trying to be Killer Army, bro.
I think that's a bad analogy. I'm trying to think, but see, and it all with all due respect, I'm trying to think of
like Boot Camp Click. Right, like he put on Smith, like Buckshot got on, and then he put on Smith and Wesson, and then they put on.
Like it wasn't about.
I got that, but my thing was like, so Manny presents himself to us. I don't remember how, but he did. You know what I'm
How
saying?
else, how else
he
would
told
he
me
know about
One
you?
thing I
me-
do remember, is that the only reason why they even knew about y'all was because of us.
Oh, that's a fact.
Yeah,
that's a
that
fact,
was one thing.
of
And it
course.
wasn't, and it was definitely on some like, yo, like this is
What's
this is
next?
the crew.
It
type
was like
shit.
we go and then they go and then they go.
I
And
get that, but
it
like
was a domino.
once Manny presented himself to us, in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is a fucking meritocracy. Whoever gets on, gets on. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not up to us to decide the order. It's like whoever gets on, gets
All
on.
right, so
B.
from the beat perspective of it, there was a limited budget when we even started with Manny.
No, and that's why I wanted that meeting, because remember they started with us. We present you guys on some like, this is the crew, and then they reach out to you. But when they reached out to you, it was never on, and that's what I'm saying. They reached out and kind of started doing things. The fact that
without
we
y'all,
got tracks,
without y'all,
the
right.
fact that we got tracks to the same beat
Right.
without knowing it,
Right.
solidifies the fact that neither one knew what was going on the other side, and that's why I'm saying, like, to your point, when you bring up that shit about rappers being sensitive and you bring out that shit, it was funny because to me that was the biggest thing. You know what? I honestly think if they would have played me some shit on some totally random shit, I don't even think I would have been as even concerned. The fact that you guys were on the same fucking beat that we were on
beats.
was like, all right, hold the fuck up, because that means that now you're literally. You're not trying to shop us separately. You're competing. You're putting us against each other. You're like, all right, they each did some shit to this beat. Which one you like better?
Well, on the
But
beat,
you said there was a limited budget for beats, right?
I was gonna go back to that.
So how do we decide which one, who gets who, when you guys had already recorded to
well,
it?
listen to this part. When we started this whole process with these guys, and the limited budget happened for the beats. We went into a mode of like, what can we do to help provide money for this project?
Mm-hmm.
We went into calling Wonky. We recording this shit at Gold's crib, and we started working out our relationship to make this budget happen. So when they pulled ID4 on, we were like, how the fuck can y'all afford this shit if we fending for our own studio time? And like, you can't push two people at the same time. And that's when the meeting happened. We were like, how the fuck are you gonna push both of us if you don't have enough money for one of us? And that's when we heard the same beats. We're like, well, then you don't have enough money for both of us.
But look,
The end. Apparently you don't, because this is the same beats. You didn't get them nothing new. You know what I'm saying? This is the only. You got 3 beats and you gave it to 2 crews. That's what y'all playing. Y'all playing a
so
lot of
basically,
50-50.
so y'all had to connect basically, and we just like pushed our way in.
Correct. And
No.
yeah,
No.
yeah, they did. Well, you didn't push your way in. We introduced you.
That's what I'm saying. They did not push.
We
Like, I don't.
introduced you into.
I don't hold
they
any-
Said, this is what they said to us. I remember this shit.
I don't hold
'Cause
any
This is
fault.
what Manny said to me. Because I'm supposed to be the fucking manager in this shit.
Soup feels
Soup
away.
feeling
He feels
certain way.
he feels
Yeah,
away.
this is the
right?
most
I'm
he's
feeling
spoken
certain
the
way.
whole
Talk
night.
about it, Soup.
I'm talking
I'm
about
here.
it.
I'm here.
All
Right.
so,
I'm here.
yo,
Right here.
So my man Manolo hits me up like, yo, I'm the manager. I've never been a manager. I'm a fucking studio head.
Mm-hmm.
I like being in, creating in the lab. I got my own music. You got your own music. I love your shit. I love his shit. I love my shit. I'm a studio head. Business is natural to me, so I will help wherever I can help. In this equation with Manolo, I have to step back and not be a manager on paper, which I always was with Common
Right.
Ground on some
Right.
level.
Right.
So I stepped back. I said, "You the manager now. I'm just a creative head officially." He comes at me and he says to me, "How we gonna do this shit?" He comes to me and says, "Listen, I'm going through relationship problems. I'm gonna have to disappear from the crew." I said, "No problem. We ain't doing shit anyway. We just making music." 2 years later, he come back. I said, "Yo, we still doing this shit." He said, "Yo, I'm still down. I'm back on my grind." I said, "Let's roll with this shit." He roll. He said, "Yo, I ain't got money like I had before." I said, "All right, it's cool though. We all working. It's all the crew shit. We had Raw Records, North, Agony, me, Manolo, 4 heads divided by, that's it. We said, let's push shit." That's what we said. We started moving shit. You said invest in shit. We did our own studio time. We did our own music. We did all our own beats. We talked to the producers.
But I didn't get approached about Raw Records.
No, you didn't, because Raw Records was way before. This was Eargasm. You did Eargasm before Raw Records.
I know. We did Eargasm when Last Laugh failed.
Right. So you taught us the way. So we did Raw Records.
But okay, I get what you're saying.
So Manolo was part of Raw Records.
He's got a vent.
So
talk about it, Soup.
I'm talking about
Talk
it.
about it.
It's reason. We got time. Listen. So I told Manolo, take your time. Come back when you're ready. He comes back. We start doing work. It's still North and Agony. Me and Manolo. So we said we invest. And he said, "Oh, this shit is going good. Do y'all have Plan B?" We said, "Yeah, we got Plan. We got Plan B. We got Plan C. We got Plan D. We got a whole lineup of shit ready to go. You just gotta get this shit popping, because we doing popular music at the time. You know what I'm saying? We doing like party music. We doing like underground shit and party music. We on the radio. We doing everything. We working that angle where ID4 was you guys to me were like outcasts. You guys to me were like, if we get y'all motherfuckers caught, y'all gonna be better than everybody.
For heads that don't know, you talking about like Outkast the group, not Outkast as in like Outkast of the crew. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I mean, Big Boy and Dre. No, back to that. But I'm saying, like, I thought y'all sound was
certain
so
folks
phenomenal.
that may not know.
Listen, I'm talking real shit. Fuck the camera. Fuck everything. Yo, I'm talking real shit. When I saw y'all, Agony can vouch for me. I'm a hip hop head. Fuck everything else. I ain't about no money, no bullshit, no none of that shit. When I heard y'all motherfuckers, I saw the future. I saw the fucking science of music. And I didn't, and for me, I had an older brother, so I could see that shit. I had 5 years ahead of me. So when I saw Outkast, nobody heard them, nobody liked them. I was listening to them, and nobody listened. And I saw like their creativity. And when y'all came out, I saw something different. I saw a lane that nobody was taking. And I said, if we can make it popular, y'all could take over that lane. So when we were doing the whole shit with Manolo, we were doing that whole vibe and like, oh, we're gonna do records, we're gonna do studio time. It's your drink. We're gonna do everything. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. When all of that shit went down, we said, I'm investing, you investing, Agony's investing, North is investing time, North is doing mixes, Agony's doing this, pressing CDs, I'm investing money, we all moving shit. And then they're like, oh, ID4, what about them? And we're like, yeah, they with us. They with us. If next thing is us. Once we get on, they on. And I feel you that like you might not have been included in that conversation, but for us it was like a natural process. There's nobody else to put on, and if we could put you guys on the right way, it was gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy because like your music took our shit to another level. You Common Ground and North and Agony, ID4, that whole process was like we got fans to this day that like wow, like it's still fucking music that nobody could touch, B. Like nobody could touch.
But for me, like I want to make sure that, because he's saying stuff like the way we would put you on. Or I'm paraphrasing at this point, but I know from my angle, it was never about us coming across and being like, all right, we got on first, so now we're gonna kind of coach you or do this or do that. It was just more along the lines of, all right, if we was on, all right, now with the establishment we got,
right.
Here y'all go, do you? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it was never a plan to to change or
Yeah,
manage
no,
or control or
who could control shot? We heard this nigga kill.
Nah, but
Did
still,
you hear the
like,
first
that was,
album? Did anybody hear the first Common Ground album and what Shottie said?
No, but that was
That was a riff.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. For me, that to me was, because anything else prior to that, I mean, there was never anything. I mean, even to me.
And look, I'll admit, like we were more wrong than you guys were in that situation. You know what I'm saying? But the idea of like falling in line, and even though and I understand the way you explained it perfectly, it actually makes sense on a logical level, but just the idea of like falling in line was something that like my ego didn't allow me to do, no matter what. And I think that comes from like literally me being like this loner fucking I'm like Batman of hip hop, B.
Yeah,
like,
but
I'm
the
just,
thing is,
like,
so then
trained
when
myself.
they presented you the beats that they presented you, did you know we had already done some shit?
I
to
knew
them?
that you guys had the same group of beats. I didn't know which ones you guys were.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. But they didn't come to you and like say, "Yo, look,
No, they didn't play
this
us,
is
they
what
didn't
they
play
did."
us the fucking song.
You see what I'm saying? So how you can't really take too much fault in that, B. Like it's a matter of, I mean, statistically speaking, even with the way our vibes work, if somebody comes to us and says, "Here's a reel of beats, and here's 10 of them," chances are, at least if we each had to pick 2,
We're gonna pick some of the same ones.
we might be within the same realm of each other.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Listen,
So-
statistically speaking, the only thing that we were like business-wise thinking was budget. How can you push both of us at the same time? Like, it made no sense that you telling me you have a limited
See, you think about budget. I go back to why the
Right,
fuck
I
are these
went
dudes
to
on the
budget.
same beats that
And
I'm
we,
on?
we didn't give a fuck.
Right,
We're
I
like,
went to budget. I went to straight management. I was like, "Yo,
The beats is what
'cause I
bothered
felt-
me.
I almost felt disrespected on y'all behalf because I don't know if you remember this part in the meeting. You both of y'all might not remember, but I felt like, how are you gonna push ID4 the right way without a budget? That's what I really thought.
You know, I think I got that meeting recorded somewhere.
really?
Yeah,
I think I do.
yeah.
I had the mini disc at that point. I
Yeah.
think I got
Doing
somewhere.
skits already.
You gotta find that
I-
for this. For
I
when we release
think I
this.
might have that shit
Yo,
recorded somewhere where
Because I was like,
where,
how you
where,
gonna
where,
push both
where
of
he got
us?
mad and was like, "You call me wishy-washy, motherfucker."
Yeah, my main concern was how you gonna push both of us.
I
Like,
know, but like you know,
I was about.
I was
about business.
yo, that ain't my problem. You know what I'm
But
saying?
that was the problem for us in the beginning. You don't have enough to push both of us, one of us. Hey yo,
But I also saw
I
it
don't
like-
have enough money.
right,
Can
but
you help
the-
me? Yeah,
but-
we can help you.
But
It was
if I remember correctly, how that meeting was resolved was that one of them was gonna go with us. I think E went with us and Manny went with y'all, but it was still gonna be like a joint thing. But like one was remember that? I
You know,
remember
honestly,
for a while,
I
like
don't. Now
E
I really
was-
want to find that recording. I have no idea
I
what came
remember
out of that meeting.
for a while, like E was the main one that was managing us.
yeah,
And it was I think something that was resolved in that meeting. Like it was like, yeah, that's how we're gonna do it. It's 2 of us, so like one of us can handle you guys, one of us can handle.
Well, we broke it down.
I was satisfied. Listen, man.
Yeah, we were.
Listen, man. I saw Tony Gavin beats.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna tell you straight up as an MC. I saw Tony Gavin beats, and I was like, I need a piece of that, dog. You guys may have had the whole pie, and I wanted a piece of that pie, and like maybe I went the wrong way about it, but I
But
was
you
like,
didn't
bro.
know though. That's the thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? If
But I knew that you guys were in running for the beats too. But again, where the problem was is the communication had broken down at that point.
that's what I'm saying. But
The
if
communication had broken down at that point, and we
it's
didn't
one thing
communicate.
if they come to you and they say, "Yo, they already dropped some shit to tracks 5 and 8," and you say, "You know what? Fuck that. I still want 5."
Nah, that wasn't the case.
You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, that would have been a little bit more malicious on some, like, you know what? I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I want that beat.
No, it wasn't that. It
You
wasn't
know,
that.
it was a matter of like, yeah, this is the same shit that they got. You didn't know, and they didn't present it that way. You didn't. I don't think at that point that you knew that shit had already been dropped. Because I'm saying, when I heard your shit, I'm like, that shit sound real fucking familiar. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm glad that this shit is being brought up because, like, I don't think people understand, at least back then, how important beats were to MCs, right?
Yo.
Like, beats were everything.
Everything.
Like, a new beat tape was like, this is gonna sustain me for the next month and shit. It was like food.
It was
dude.
huge.
Like, yeah, man. So, like,
Your brain was gonna be
having
entertained.
a name like Tony Gavin, like when I saw that and I heard the beats, I had horse blinders on, bro. I was like, listen, I don't care what happens, I just need to get on these beats. That's all I was thinking at the time. You know what I'm saying? But like, nah, it wasn't like it was presented to us like, oh, here's this North and Agony song. You know what I'm saying? You want to use that beat? Nah, B.
Nah, of course, and,
Nah.
and that's why we actually wanted to have the meeting because we were like, yo, there's no way that it's going down this way, like, because we already did music already.
Yeah.
Like, one thing that Common Ground made official from the beginning was we're gonna make music. Dope.
All right. Episode 2 in the books, and about to get into episode 3. At the end of episode 2, you know, we kind of talk about how we always wanted to make music, And if we're gonna make it, we're gonna make it dope. And I think it's something that we still stand to this day. And I'm glad it standed the test of time for real. But on episode 3, we're gonna actually continue the conversation, the aftermath of the meeting, you know, the evolution of CG, and we're gonna get into it with Shottie and Agony. And thanks for listening to episode 2. See you on the next one. The Common Ground Story.
CG.
Shit was sick. I woke up in the sweat, my heart was pumping. Nightmares, they got me bugging, son. Ready for thumping. I had a hard night, so I fell asleep around 4. I woke up in the liquor store with Fred dog at the door. Look to my left, my nigga Al had a magnum to this nigga's chest. A sick grin with one shot, how he can make a nigga rest. Look to the back, flops fumbling the stacks of cash. Stuffing duffel bags with a sick laugh. No need to ask what was taking place. Yo, we was robbing for papes, but it's too late. Red dog screams out,
here come the Jakes.
must have rang the alarm. Damn, now I gotta keep calm. Pass me my firearm and tell Bush to activate the bomb. Less than 1 minute left. Give Joe the cue so he could jet. And meet us around the back quick, but grab the bag so he can flex. Shots rang. My nigga Fred called one to the brain. I'm blazing, trying to reach his body so we don't go up in flames. Flash crashing, bullets flying, niggas all blasting. Running out the back when I heard somebody laughing. Demons from my past grasping, started attacking and told me they were set for me cause of my younger actions. Then suddenly all 6 turned into one. Tall and dark, wearing black, and he was sipping on red rum. Put his cold hand on my head, told me to let it go. Close your eyes, son, and I'ma snatch you for your soul.
Table in front of me, mad guns. Out the blue came that dude, Michael Landon, asking me if I'm ready. The scenario was strange. Said fuck it, went with it and took 2 9s in the gauge. A quick flip of the page and found myself at the crib. Opened the door, saw this chick with 3 of her kids. None of them looked familiar and she talking to Mike. I was at the refrigerator cracking open a Sprite. She pleading for him to leave and he's telling her please. Yo, let that motherfucker show his face, I'm ready to squeeze. And I'm out in left field, chilling with gats and no clue as to what is going on and what it is we about to do. Suddenly I see the kids crazy running about, screaming out, there's a bunch of people rushing the house. I was in shock, ran to the back and found me a spot. Grab a clip and inserted it to the butt of a Glock. With all the chaos, I got no time to sit and wonder. Just don't wanna go under, heart thumping like thunder. Peeped the scene out the window and saw a shitload of cats looking like SWAT with machine guns and cabs dressed in black. Started to shoot, felt like I was stepping on ants. The more I lay flat, the more I find myself aiming at. Put one to the back and felt pressure but no pain. Ducked under a table, sniper missed to hit a picture frame. Gotta get my mind straight quick and try to do something, cause I'm starting to feel numb and faint and can see my blood gushing. Went all out, ran and put my back to a wall. Heard the sounds of shots, screams and shells falling on the floor. In the midst of all action, it all happened in slow motion. I saw a bullet hit my neck and then I began choking. Could've sworn I was floating, so I opened up my eyes. My soul was on the rise, looked down and saw myself die.